Hi folks, it's Andy and welcome to today's Kendo rant. I hope you're having a great day. Let's get straight to the questions. I just received my KendoStar Ultimate modelled. I expect to mean Shinai, the Ultimate all-purpose Shinai. And the balance feels great compared to other practice Shinai. Great. My question is, for KendoStar products, do you recommend doing the pre-use maintenance, brackets, flattening the edges with a Shinai tool, etc.? Thanks, as always. And there's actually a follow-up question to this. Someone else has posted saying, why are we instructed to sand and oil Shinai, particularly new ones? Why aren't Shinai sold pre-sanded and oiled? Sorry for a stupid question. Okay, it's not a stupid question. That's a great follow-up question as well. So, when you get a new Shinai from KendoStar, it is best to take it apart and apply oil, okay? And if possible, it's best to kind of let it be after you've oiled it. It's best to let it be for a couple of a couple of weeks, not months, all right? If you have to use it right away, it's not a massive deal, but you'll get the most life out of it if you leave it for a couple of weeks just to acclimatise to the actual climate that you're practicing Kendo in. Because obviously we send these all around the world, and they go on an aeroplane and, you know, they get dried out and stuff like that. And then the climate that they're actually ending up in is somewhat different to where they've been stored or where they've even been made. So so that's the best thing to do. You don't need to start taking to the edges with them with a tool or start sanding them down and stuff like that. You don't need to really do that with any of the Shinai that we offer. Just a bit of oil would be the best thing. I've got a video on it actually about Shinai maintenance. So if you search that in the Kendo Show channel about Shinai maintenance, I take you through how to do that. As to the question about if we've got to do that, why aren't they sold pre-sanded and oiled? Like I said, you don't need to sand them. They are already pre-sanded and finished in terms of the shape. So it's not it's not something you need to do. But we do actually oil them beforehand. They are actually oiled. But the thing is these Shinai are the oil's applied in our sort of offices in Japan, and then if we're shipping the Shinai out from the UK, because we either ship out from the UK or we ship straight out from Japan. If we're shipping out from the UK, they've come over to us from Japan. So they've had one aeroplane journey already, and then they go to sort of within the UK or to European countries. And yeah, I mean, it's mainly because they do dry out a little bit with the airplane journey. So it's oiling a Shinai is something that you have to do sort of semi regularly. It's not something you just do once and then forget about it. So that's why that's why you're instructed to do it when you get a new one. And that it's not that they're not done before they're sold, because we do actually apply some oil to them beforehand, but at the same time we do have them in a little bit of storage. We don't keep that many in storage, because if you have too many in storage, then they do tend to get dried out. But we don't keep a massive storage of them, so that we can keep the turnover of them quick, so that they do get the best life that way, is what we find. But yeah, that's the reason for that. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Hi, enjoying your rants and general info. Thank you very much. Any thoughts on manners in terms of wearing gi, specifically wearing gi that is very faded or has holes in it caused by rubbing? Okay, so if the gi is a bit faded, it's generally not a problem. It depends what you're going to be wearing it for. If it's just for your sort of everyday practice, just practicing your dojo, then I don't think it's a major problem. In terms of holes, as long as they aren't too big and they're sort of exposing parts of your flesh, and could potentially, you know, because the gi is actually there to add a little bit of protection as well. Then, you know, if it's just for training, then it's not a massive issue. I wouldn't go to any sort of official events with a kendo gi that's got holes in it. Certainly not a grading or even the Shiai or seminar or something like that. At the end of the day, it is a fact that the outward appearance of people doing Kendo, your sort of outward appearance, is important. in Kendo. It is important. There is a concept called chakuso, which is a way of wearing the correct, wearing things correctly, and it applies not just to the kendogi and hakama, but also to the bogu, and then also how you actually conduct yourself. So yeah, I mean, it is an important aspect of kendo, that making sure that you look correct and that you look neat and tidy. So if you've got a kendogi that's like old and battered and faded out, then yeah, I mean, just use it in your dojo for training or whatever. But don't be taking it to events. Certainly don't be using it in grading. You want a nice one that's nice and clean. It doesn't have to be brand new. It just has to not be full of holes and like totally faded so that there's no colour. You know, same with the bogu. You know, you don't have to have a new bogu to go to a grading. But, you know, if your bogu is like properly battered, or, you know, maybe you haven't been looking after it properly, it's probably battered, you're not tied it up properly, and like you're not really wearing it right, and the door's on wonky and stuff like that, then yeah, you're not gonna lose, you know, you're gonna lose points at a grading for that sort of thing. But even if it's worn, even if there's bits of it worn away, as long as if you wear it properly, it still looks neat. So so yeah, I mean, it's not that you definitely have to have new stuff all the time. But you know, if it's getting a little bit past it, then you do have to consider that. All right, because at the end of the day, your outward appearance is very well, I wouldn't say it's very important, but it is an important aspect of the kendo experience, really, if that makes sense. Next one. This is a good question. This one's in the Kendo Show Early Access group. If you're not in that group, there's a link down below. It's a great group to be in. That's where I post the Kendo Show instructional videos before I post them anywhere else. And it's a great place to post questions. A load of discussion gets generated there. Like I say, there's a link in the description. Okay, so hi Andy. We're discussing the other day with some friends who each practice multiple martial arts and have reached reasonable Dan levels. I wonder, what are your thoughts on the transferability of skills into Kendo from other Budo disciplines? Does this happen often everywhere? Based on my experience, I've met several people with relatively high ranks in karate and kendo, or aikido and kendo, etc. Could it be a hindrance? People often say it's more difficult to rewire your brain to learn to snowboard after you know how to ski. Okay, well, obviously, and there was some comments about this, obviously there's other arts that are very closely linked to kendo, like iaido and jodo. And although I only do kendo these days, I only do kendo. I've got no experience really in iaido or jodo. I do have some experience in other martial arts from before I started kendo, but nothing sort of serious. I certainly wasn't ranked in them properly. In terms of, yeah, I mean, those sort of arts, I have heard people say, and I wouldn't know, so I'm not saying this is true, but I've heard people say that practicing kendo has helped their iaido. So I don't know if it's true or not, because I can't say from my own experience. And obviously there are lots of senseis that have the very high grades, even 8th dan in kendo, and also like a high grade 6th dan, 7th dan in iaido. I don't know if there's any that have got 8th dan in both, but there could very well be. There could very well be. I could be wrong about that. So those sort of arts are quite linked together. In terms of like other arts like kendo or judo or aikido, it's hard to say really for me to say whether there is a transferable skill, because I've never really done them that much. I've done a little bit of karate actually, but I don't know. I don't think that there's majorly transferable skills from kendo into something like karate or judo. There could be some sort of mental aspects that I guess you could carry over. Certainly some of the sort of more conceptual things. But in terms of sort of physical skills, I think the footwork's very different. Obviously, it's a different set of movements. So I guess I feel like kendo would have the same sort of influence on your practice of, let's say, kickboxing as it would you learning to, I don't know, like play pool or something, or even something more abstract, like doesn't involve holding a stick, for example, like I don't know, like soccer or something like that. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be, but it's like a totally separate thing. It is a Budo, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's sort of transferable, if you know what I mean. I could well be wrong though, because I don't have the experience in both of them. I've never met somebody that's got the high grade in Kendo and Karate, or Kendo and Aikido, or Kendo and Judo. And when I say high grade, I mean above 6th dan in Kendo. I mean, I've met people that have got high grades in Karate and then sort of medium grades in Kendo, like 2nd dan or 3rd dan. Or possibly even 4th dan, but I don't know of many people that have got like 6th or 7th dan in Kendo, and then also they've got like 5th or 6th dan in Karate or Judo or something like that. I feel like because probably the amount of dedication required to each specific art to get to that level probably is a bit prohibitive to do that in multiple arts, perhaps. I don't know. But people do it with things like EI, Jodo, Naginata even, so potentially. Whether it could be a hindrance or not, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, people often come to Kendo and that have got martial arts backgrounds in other martial arts and then claim that it's a hindrance to their Kendo because they're used to standing this way, they're used to standing that way. But in real terms, they're struggling with it as much as everybody else does. It's not that they've got some, because they're so used to their other experience. Because nobody's used to doing Kendo footwork. Nobody's used to it. They've got as much difficulty as anyone else. I don't tend to see that they've got more difficulty. I know what you say about people saying about it's more difficult to rewire your brain to learn to snowboard after you know how to ski. Now, I don't know how to ski and I don't know how to snowboard, but I imagine that sort of people probably do say that a lot, but I would be surprised if in practice that's actually true. Surely if you know how to ski and you've got some understanding of how sort of snow feels under the foot and how it kind of behaves and stuff like that, surely it would be easy for somebody that was good at skiing to learn how to snowboard than it would be for me to learn how to snowboard that's got no experience in either of the disciplines. I can't imagine that. Obviously, you're going to be stood different stuff, but you're going to know how the snow works and stuff like that. I don't know. This is a Kendo rant, not a snowboard rant. So, but yeah, I guess that's my answer to that. In terms of transferability, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. But I could well be wrong. Let me know. I don't think it's a hindrance. I definitely don't think it's a hindrance. So yeah. I don't think that either. So, yeah. Okay, next one. Hey there, I've been watching your videos since they came out, and whilst I personally enjoy them, I wonder if you've received any negative feedback or metaphoric finger wagging from any of the leading Kendo governing bodies or sensei within those groups. I ask because I've heard other people who are Godan and above level who are also proliferate in releasing Kendo opinion instruction videos, only to be subtly informed that they should cease doing so. It's a bit of an odd question, but you've carved a unique niche in the Kendo social media sphere, and I'm certain it's received quite a widespread attention. Okay, so if I understand your question rightly, it's like have I been kind of had any sort of negative feedback or any sort of criticism or been told to kind of reel it in from sort of high graded people in sort of Kendo groups, or what have you, because I'm putting out my opinion on the internet about Kendo, and instructional videos as well about Kendo. No, I can't think that I have had anything like that. No, I don't think I do. No, I can't think of a time when I've ever had anything like that. And I do know as well that I've even had I know that there's some high level people that have watched my channel actually. Both around the world and in Japan too. I actually know there's been a couple of very high level people watch the videos. But I don't seem to have a kind of negative feedback from it. I've had positive feedback from it, from several people, of high level, you know, sort of 7th Dan and even 8th Dan actually. I had some people say nice things, so appreciate that. I think, I don't know, maybe I'll get it, maybe especially after having this, but I think, I can't imagine that sort of criticism, not criticism, I don't mind criticism, I'm happy with that, but like saying, oh, don't put your opinion out, stop that sort of thing. I can't imagine that happening. And because I don't think I'm saying anything that's that, like I said from the start, this is all my opinion, this is just what I think, and it could change, it could totally change. But it's just based off most of it is based off my own thoughts, my own opinions, the stuff that I teach through the Kendo show, that's stuff that that essentially I've been taught myself. And the idea of the Kendo show originally was, when I was based in Japan, was for me to help create a link between Kendo, how it's taught in Japan, and the rest of the world, and that's why I made it in the first place. And I don't believe that I've said anything in those videos, and even when I look at some of the older videos and rewatch them, there's nothing in there that I watch back and think, oh no, I was wrong about that, or I should have said that differently. And if there was, I'd revise it. But I'm also very careful to select the subjects as well. You know, I don't select something that could be particularly considered negatively, for example, and at the same time, I'm just, like I said, I'm just putting out what I think. And further, I don't think, and I don't mean this to sound arrogant or defiant even, but nobody has the authority to do that, to turn to me and say, stop doing it. Only I have the authority to do that, because this is my channel and this is my opinion, and I've got the right to do it. So I'm more than happy to be disagreed with by people of whatever level they are, whether they're high level or they're even if they're beginning, and I'm happy to have that discussion. But I don't think I'd be open to somebody coming to me and saying, you have to stop that, because that isn't the sort of authority that's given to you with a Dan grade. So yeah, if that makes sense. But like I say, I'm so far so good. I haven't had any sort of feedback like that, and I don't anticipate I will get any. And I don't even mind if I do, to be honest. I hope that makes sense. I hope that answers the question anyway. So yeah, thank you very much for that. I'm actually going to wrap up the video today, because I know it's only a few questions. I only pulled a few out, yeah, and I know I didn't put a video out yesterday, but things have been a little bit hectic for me. I finally got my wife back from Japan yesterday. She finally came home, her visa was approved. That's why I couldn't film a video yesterday. I was picking her up from the airport and sorting everything out. So finally we're back together as a family, but it has been quite a difficult couple of days, in lots of ways. It's my daughter's birthday today as well, so I'm trying to dash off, but thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for the questions. Leave me a question down below. You can probably see I'm a little bit all over the place. I'm not quite on the ball when it comes to it, so leave me some more comments and questions, and I'll come back with a better quality rant, hopefully tomorrow. And yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Shop at KendoStar, that's the important one, because that's what keeps me doing it, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks again.